Hello and welcome to Samuel Ramey Behind the Curtain, where we'll be hearing anecdotes about Samuel Ramey's life and career offstage or behind the curtain. I hope you enjoy this series.
Welcome back. So, yesterday was my wife's birthday. So, did you have a nice birthday?
I had a wonderful birthday because I have the best husband in the whole wide world.
Oh.
He's not just a star on stage, he's a star at home.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
he gave me beautiful 2 dozen yellow roses. It's an amazing bouquet.
you.
I got flowers from my sister and her husband, my sister Lori, and they're gorgeous. We talked our son into singing happy birthday to me along with Sam, and he refuses to sing. So that was the best, really, one of the best presents ever. And and I got these really cute earrings. They're champagne bottles from my son's longtime girlfriend, Claudia. They're a very cute
Very
couple.
cute.
They they were able to have prom this year. They went to prom. They're actually having a graduation. They're both
And
seniors.
graduates 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's a little snapshot of our little family. Oh, and the dogs.
Uh,
Waiting for their treats. Come on, Daddy.
Oh, sweet, sit down. What a good girl.
The dogs are all sitting out here with us. So, Sam, I've had several questions about your facility for coloratura. Now, is that something that you had to really work at, or is it something that just seems to have come naturally?
Well, I can remember when I was a very young singer, when I was in college, I can remember working on the arias from Handel's Messiah, and it it the the coloratura always came sort of easy to me for some reason. I mean, it is something that I worked on, of course. I wanted to keep that flexibility in my voice, and plus my teacher in college, Arthur Newman, he always emphasized keeping the voice light and flexible. Had me all of his students work on the Baccae vocalises, and so it was something that always was in my voice, I think.
So, whenever you worked on a particularly difficult coloratura piece, Handel, Rossini, any of those, when you started working on those difficult passages, did they just naturally come easily to you, or did you have to put in the work?
Well, it came fairly easy for me, but I mean, of course I had to work on it, but
How did you do that? What was your process?
especially with something I didn't know when I was learning something new, um, doing it, a passage at a time, singing it slow at first, out of tempo, and then gradually, you know, as you learn it, getting it up, being able to sing it at the correct tempo.
Maybe even faster than the correct tempo in case you end up with a conductor who likes
True,
a
yeah.
particularly
That's
fast tempo.
There are those.
So this facility that you have
Hmm.
for coloratura certainly helped with your days with the Rossini Festival in
Well, yes.
Pesaro. Can you talk a little about the festival?
Um, yes, my relationship with the Rossini Festival was pretty much at the beginning of the festival. I remember them calling me. I was in Italy, um, and sometime in the spring of 1980, because the summer festival, the Rossini Festival started the summer of 1980, and they called. I remember, and asked me if I was available that summer. Wanted me to do the La Gazzaladra. It's one of the operas they were opening the festival with, and I wasn't available because I was going to sing Samuel Ramey in Aix-en-Provence. So they said, "Well, what about the next year in 1981?" And I said, "Well, I said that would probably be more possible because I think I have free time that summer." And I remember my agent in New York, Matthew Epstein, um, went to Pesaro to see the festival in 1980 just to check it out, um, and so just to see if it was going to be something. And he thought it would be something that was going to develop into a special thing. So I had plans for 1981 for my Rossini Festival debut as Mustafa in L'Italiani in Algeri, and yes, and we had quite a long relationship. I think I sang there for 1981, 82, 83, 84, and 85 consecutive years. Um, so it was a special place.
And Pesaro is right on the sea,
Yes,
so it's a lovely area.
right on the Adriatic. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a beach. It's a beach town.
And they have a conservatory there as well,
Right, the
so
Rossini Conservatory. Pesaro is Rossini's birthplace. He was born in Pesaro. Uh, you walk down the main street of Pesaro, you pass right by his home, his birthplace.
do you remember everything you sang there? Can you give us a list?
I can. Let's see. In 1981, I sang Mustafa in L'Italiana. In 1982, I went back to sing again Mustafa. They kept the L'Italiana in the repertoire for that summer. And also, I believe that summer, 82, I also sang my first um, Rossini Stabat Mater, which is a great,
Fantastic piece.
fantastic piece. And then in 1983, I went back to sing in two operas, Il Turco in Italia. I did the title part, and also La Donna del Lago. That was with Katia Ricciarelli and Lucia Valentini Terrani.
Where you got your tooth broken
Yes, where I had gotten a fight. Uh,
on stage.
yes. And that was 1983. Then in 1984, I went back. That's the summer that we did Il Viaggio a Reims. Uh, that's the first time Il Viaggio a Reims was performed only the year when it was written. It was written for the coronation of George V, I think, and in France, and it never was performed again after those special performances. And the
The
dogs are
dogs
having a
are
tete-a-tete.
playing.
And then it's funny the people, the Rossini Opera Festival is in conjunction with the conservatory, and there are a staff of musicologists there. And the way the Rossini Festival worked was that the the musicologists would do these would put together these critical editions of the Rossini operas, and then they would be these critical editions would be performed at the festival.
Squirrel.
So Philip Gossett was one of the chief musicologists at the festival. Every year would go to Italy to do research, and he would go to this library in Rome, and he tells a story that he went there one time one summer and was sitting there, and he said one of the librarians came over and plopped down in front of him this stack of stuff and said and told him that they had found it somewhere in the library and thought he might be interested in it. So he started going through it and discovered that it was all the music to Il Viaggio a Reims.
Wow.
So they put together the critical edition over the next couple of years, and we performed Il Viaggio in 1984. It's quite a big deal. Assembled a fantastic cast because it requires 16 really good Rossini singers. And so that was an exciting experience, and that was performed. That opera was performed not in the opera house in Pesaro, but actually in the conservatory. They had a large theater in the conservatory, Rossini Conservatory, and that's where Viaggio had its second premiere.
That's very exciting.
So that was 1984. Then I went back in 1985 to do Maometto Secondo. And also that summer, I was awarded the Rossini Medal, which they give a medal every now and then to somebody,
Someone who can sing Rossini?
I guess. And then I didn't go back to the festival for a few years. I think the next time I went back was 1989 for La Gazzaladra. And then I went back for the last time in 1992 they did a revival of Il Viaggio a Reims. So that's my history with the Rossini Opera Festival.
Fantastic. Thank goodness you were a professional singer at the time that they decided to start this, because there aren't that many people who can sing those bass roles.
True. Well, that's true.
And then you moved on to do much larger roles. You can sing almost everything.
I don't know.
I know.
I have a wide variety of repertoire, that's true.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us this week.
Yes. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, and hopefully we'll talk a little more about the Rossini Festival and the people with whom you sang.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be back soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cercami no, cercami